Hello friends, Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad Ali is back again with another brand new grammatical videos. Today I have come up with a very important video class. My today's topic is completing sentences. Today's video is going to be very well suited, especially for the 9th and 10th grade students. So without doing a delay, let's get started. Before starting this video, as usual, I request you to like, comment and share so that you can be a very first one who can get more videos from my channel. For your convenience, I divided this video into two parts. Now I'll show you chapter 1. First of all, we have to learn how complete sentences are. Sometimes we may find some directions to complete sentences in our questions paper. So let's get started. Complete sentence means incomplete sentence converted into complete sentence. And these directed are two parts, two types. First of all, incomplete sentences which are in context based, and then incomplete sentences are which are not context based. That means separate sentences. So we may follow some directions, or we may follow some rules. My first rule is subject and then main verb or auxiliary and then to, and then adjective or a verb and then to, and then verb 1, such as subject he, auxiliary is and then to, and adjective ought, to verb 1 work. That means he is too ruled to walk. Rule number second, subject, main verb and then auxiliary and then object and then to, and then main verb 1. That means verb in present form or basic form. He as a subject and then main verb works and then object heard, and then to as preposition to and then verb 1 shine. You can add more words after this word, and we can say he works hard to shine. My next rule is subject plus auxiliary or main verb and then adjective and then enough and then for and then object, that means personal object, and then to and then verb 1, such as subject as Razu, auxiliary is, adjective strong and then enough, and for preposition and object personal object me, we know me for I, personal object, and then to, and finally verb 1 defeat. And we can completely say Razu is strong enough for me to defeat. If we find a sentence incomplete from here to there, or here, or this incomplete part, sometimes you can also find this gap for here. However, my next rule is subject and then auxiliary and then verb 1, that means main verb and then adjective and enough and then to and then verb 1. For example, Hassan is wise enough to judge. My next rule, subject then auxiliary then verb, that is main verb, and then too much or too many. We may say that too much for uncountable noun, too many for countable noun, and then noun, and then to, and then verb 1, and finally object. For example, subject she, auxiliary has, and then too much and too many. I have selected too much. That means money. We don't know money, how many or much. Money is uncountable word. And then to and verb 1 purchase an object as anything. So we can say that she has too much money to purchase anything anytime. Anytime is not here. You can add this word. So friends, next rules are number 6, subject and then auxiliary, then so and then adjective, then that, and then subject, then can. If you find this sentence for present form, then you may use can. If you find the sentence in past form, then you may use could. And then use a not for a negative meaning, and then verb 1 then object. Such an example, he for subject is for auxiliary and so, and then adjective as weak, and then that, and subject again. You may use first subject here, and you may also use another subject here. For present form, you may use here can. I have used can for is, and then not, and then verb 1 work. You may write down here more words after verb 1. He is so weak that he cannot work. This sentence is here dash. You may not find this part for your question paper. And my next rule is 7. Subject and then auxiliary, then verb. The verb is verb in basic form or verb in first form, etc. And then object, and then so that. So that means is a positive form, and so adjective that was negative information. And then subject then can or could for tense basis, and then verb 1 then object. However, he for subject works for main verb attentively. I have used this adverb for object. You may use another object, and then so that, and then subject he, then can could have used again can for present form. You may use here first form if you find this first one was past, or first one was past, and then verb 1 earn, and finally money. You may use here another noun. He works attentively so that he can earn money. And the next one is subject, verb 1, object. If provided that, and whether, you may use here or you may find here, and then subject, then verb 1, then object. For I for subject and auxiliary, I have used here. You may use here main verb, and then not sure for object, and if from here. I will have time. You may find here comma. You may find here comma, but comma is not necessary here. This part you may not find, and you have to put, or you have to complete this part. You may here not find this part, so you have to fulfill this part. My next rule is subject and then verb and then object, then a list. List means you have to do something for your better future. Subject, verb and object, list, or in case. You may find here list or in case, and then subject. You may use here 5 models: should, might, would, could, can. For this situation, if a situation demands any model, you may use such type of model. And then verb 1 then object. We know that after model we have to use verb 1. Here verb 1. Subject I wrote, I have used here first form because previous sentences I have used present form, so here I have used first form. And then object down, then down her address, list, and then I have to use subject I can choose here should, forget it. And this one is subject I, then verb wrote. So the sentence is I wrote down her address. I wrote down her address. I wrote down her address. List. That means a chance to forget. List. I should forget it. My next one is unless. If you use unless, or if you find unless before the sentence, remember unless is a subordinate conjunction. So if you find unless before starting a sentence, then you will find comma. If you find this one in the middle of the 2 sentences, that means one dependent clause and one principal clause, then you may not find here comma. And unless will use replacing comma. However, unless and then subject and then affirmative verb and then object, and for comma and then subject verb, that means a negative information and then object. I have written here example: unless you work first, you will miss the train. You will miss the train. That means here I have used a comma. You may not use or you may not find a comma. So friends, thank you for being with me, and I invite you to watch my next part, that means chapter 2 of this video. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.